Right, day 3 of gloating, everyone. We've got Scott and David on with me, Hamish. Scott, you enjoyed yourself on probably the early hours of Monday morning. We saw the footage yesterday. Talk us through those celebrations.
I did, and fortunate enough with the time changing, it was actually Sunday evening, Hamish, so I got home at a decent hour as I was working the first thing in the morning as well. But lots of praise for the channel, which you'll be pleased to hear.
Ooh.
Everyone was absolutely loving yourself and Davey and the rest of the crew and what you guys are doing, and they all listen in, and they were very, very complimentary to everyone, even me, can you believe? So it was good, and a great night all round. I wasn't too sure there after 2 minutes if I was going to have to make a quick exit, because the last time I was there we didn't win either, so I was glad to get that hoodoo out the way.
So give it a shout out. Where were you watching the game?
I was at the Sydney Celtic Supporters Club in an Irish park called Scruffy Murphy's. So that's their new place to go, and it was a great atmosphere, I must say. It was great to see so many Celtic fans in there, and from young and old generations, but just everyone you can imagine was over the moon after that result.
Fabulous. Also a party going on at the Jockstein CSC in Melbourne, thanks to the dentist for sending this footage on, and a shout out to Colin Turnbull, who runs that CSC in Melbourne. Supporting Celtic truly is a global affair, guys. Now that things have calmed down a little bit after the joy of the last couple of days, what are our takes on the state of play at the top of the Premiership, David? We're going to use this as another excuse to stick the league table up on screen, guys, but there's still a fair bit of work to do, isn't there, David, if we're honest about it, as much as we're in a brilliant position?
There's a bit of work to do, yeah, and just in the sense that we're not officially over the line. But I said this to you off video, and I'll say it again. If Celtic don't win it from here, at the end of the season, words like catastrophe, disaster, maybe even disgrace will get thrown in. That's the position we're in. It should be finalised at this point. There's no excuses after the result. And what a heroic performance it was. I thought it was so controlled at Ibrox. I really did. There's been times when we've went there and we've been winning where I've been watching it from behind the couch. I felt quite comfortable in the last 20 minutes of that. I honestly did. I thought Celtic always seemed to have an element of control. I think they were happy to let Rangers come at them down the flanks, fully confident that they could dominate Kemar Roofe in the box. I think Cameron Carter-Vickers and Carl Starfelt in particular repelling everything that came into the penalty box, and I think they both proved a point, to be honest, and I think they sort of helped me be a bit more calm in those closing stages. I thought it was a great performance, and from here on in, Hamish, they can't lose it from here, surely.
Scott, you spoke last week about the whole thing of a derby game almost being like a cup final, and that when you go ahead, you put everything in the line to stop the opposition getting back into it. And we kind of saw that. It kind of played out in the second half.
Yeah, it did. It did. I didn't expect the game to have that many goals. I actually thought it would only be one goal that kind of would win it. But I think obviously that's not the start you want, is it? And I knew they were going to come out the traps quick. I always said that you have to cope with the madness for the first 15 minutes. Didn't quite manage to after 2, but the response was immediate, wasn't it? And that was the real settler, for me, for Celtic. The longer that goes, the harder it becomes, and all of a sudden their goal gets smaller mentally. But like you said there, Davey, the defensive performance to a man, you have to say, was superb, particularly that second half. And I think Rangers ran out of ideas, and I think that's twice now that Ange has come up against Van Bronckhorst and had his number. So there is going to be question marks on their end from their manager. Have you got the capabilities to go and beat Celtic? Now, we'll soon see when the Cup semi-final comes, guys. That's going to be another interesting one and one to look forward to for us. But I really do feel, Ange at the moment's answering all the right questions, and he can't come up with the answers at the other end. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, the way that their style is and how they're playing against Celtic, and how Celtic, they weren't as dominant. You wouldn't expect that at Ibrox, but again, still had chances, still had wonderful chances. The McGregor save off Abada. You're just wishing he puts that, wider, but it doesn't, and
Or
he
low.
comes to the fore, or low, and there was a few others as well. So it could have been more guys. It really could. So, picking Tommy Roderick at the beginning of the game was fully justified, wasn't it? The start that he had and the impact that he had also. But it's just it's wonderful. One hand is on the trophy, isn't it, guys? Let's be real. You've almost got a three game gap. If you include the goal difference amongst that, and I think Celtic fans are all looking forward now to see when that split game is going to be. Could that be the decider?
Yeah, I think you make a really good point about the opening goal as well. There was don't know about you guys, a sort of sense of, we've been here before. I was rolling my eyes. The two Dougs were rolling their eyes. We've seen this story before unfold at Ibrox. To come back and win it in that manner, Scott, and with the situation with the league just now, what's the feeling like in that dressing room? Because I don't think complacency now is going to come into it. I don't think, after seeing how they approached that game of the weekend, they just don't strike me as a group that's going to be allowed to be complacent.
No.
So what's the feeling right now, Scott, after a win like that? And how does it differ beating them at Ibrox compared to Celtic Park?
Excuse me, sorry. Absolutely 100%, David. You're bang on the money. It'll be euphoria right now, and the belief and confidence will be through the roof. Winning against your rivals at their ground particularly will do that. And there is no time for complacency. Ange will make sure that just doesn't happen. We know that, hearing his pre-game talks and how he is after matches, it's just relentless. And we've talked about that on this channel many a time. He is relentless in everything he does. So the team won't be allowed to do that. We've got to remember the unbeaten run Celtic are on right now. He's slowly catching Brendan Rodgers' record there. It's hugely impressive. When we look at it, really.
You're the first person, Scott, to mention that the Brendan Rodgers record could be in a bit of threat.
Yeah, well, it could be. And
Love it.
I could see Celtic going unbeaten, hopefully till the end of the season. I really do. Who's going to stop them? Depending on, you'll know better than me, Hamish, the away to home fixture. I think Celtic have got 3 home fixtures in there after the split as well. So it's very, very happy days for Celtic, and psychologically, the Rangers right now and their players will know that. I think there's been a few memes going around about the wee fella from Ibrox saying it's done. I think there might be a little bit of that creeping in, as much as the staff and everyone will try and make sure that the focus is on. I just think if Celtic win again the next game, all of a sudden it gets even more difficult, doesn't it? It just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. So we'll see.
Do you guys not think that the reaction of the Rangers players at full time was really telling? Normally when the losing team in this derby, the reaction after the game, they're sulking about, they're going about shaking hands, their heads are a bit down. There was a few Rangers players flat out on the floor, absolutely gutted. You had others, crouching over, looking knackered. They looked to me as if a side does when they know they've lost the league. That's how I felt personally looking at them. I thought they looked absolutely drained of any sort of hope, just the way they react. Because I didn't think it was the way a team normally reacts when they lose this fixture. I think they clearly knew the importance, and I think it really, really took it out of them when they lost the game.
Possibly. I just think there's still work Celtic need to do. I don't think the league is won yet. I still think we just need to keep going. Ange, obviously, you wouldn't expect him to say anything different, but he feels the same way. He said to Sky Sports, "It's 3 points, mate. There are another 3 points we need to get next week, and we'll just keep accumulating until we win something." Scott, what will Ange be saying to the players? How does a manager, motivate players after such a high? Is it an easy job? Is it a difficult job?
I don't think he needs to motivate them. I think he'll just be wanting to give them a bit of a kick up the bum to say, right, next one. That's all that matters. And I think there's a huge respect for him in that changing room and what he says. And he is an amazing motivator, from what I've been told as well. And in his words, when we've heard the words, and only in the last week as well, with the promotion that Celtic have done, it's fantastic stuff. I just don't see them giving up anything now. I can just see it being relentless from now on in. The confidence that it's gave. The players that have come back, O'Reilly's, I think, got injured. But you think of the players that are actually coming back now. David Turnbull as well, coming back. Fitness. Kyogo coming back to fitness. That just gives you the spark at the right time as well.
Yeah. Mentally,
that there's players on my back now as well. I want to play till the end of the season. I've got to keep playing well. So it's great. It's a great thing for Celtic and for Ange to have that competition this late on, that he's not just relying on an 11. He's got more than 11. We know that. We've seen it on the weekend again. So, that's the beauty of, if things aren't going well at times as well through this period, he's going to be able to change it. And he's got real influences there.
Do you think, Scott, as a player, is this not a kind of special case now because of the situation Celtic are in with the league, in the sense that, do you really need to be given motivational messages at this point? You know the rewards that are on offer if you see it through. The Champions League's available to you most likely. You can get all the bragging rights to win the league. You're just so close to it. Do you really need the manager to be telling you what's at stake here at this point?
No, you don't. You don't. You if you could play those 6 games in 6 days, I think you would as a player.
Yeah.
I think you just want to. You're desperate to win the title. You just want to get it over the line. For a lot of these players, it will be their first title. For Celtic as well. Let's not forget that. It's a brand new team that's apart from I'm trying to think who else, from Callum McGregor, Tommy as well. Who else is there really that's won a league title with Celtic? Greg Taylor maybe.
Forrest.
Forrest, yeah, but in terms of that 11, the starting team that probably started at Ibrox, not many. So I think it's a huge moment. There'll be a lot of excitement. There'll still be a lot of nerves. And the next one's the most important. It really is. We know that by hook or by crook. We've seen it many a time this year. And are you really we talk about it, no one really remembers or cares what the performance is like. And I don't think anyone will really care. It's just as long as the results are there for these next 6 games, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, give me the dullest 1-0 victory over St Johnstone on Saturday and I'm biting your hand off for it. And I think it'll be tough against them. And I'm not just saying this to appear, really kind of at it and not complacent at all, but I think they're a good side, in terms of the last few weeks. They've got 7 points out of the last 9. They're clearly a side on the up and they're playing for something really crucial, so I think that might be tough. Yeah, just briefly, guys, man of the match from Sunday, David?
Callum McGregor. Fantastic. I tell you, the moment that changed the game, if you talk about that equaliser, it was when he skipped past Aaron Ramsey and then did the same to John Lundstrom, and he caught the inside of Calvin Bassey as well. Our first attack, and it was so purposeful from him, but not just that. I thought he was in total control of the midfield throughout the match. I thought he was breaking play up in our defensive third so much. And what he did that was so important. A lot of these crosses would get cleared out to Callum, and he didn't just hoof it. He didn't just look for Giakoumakis long. He could see a midfield teammate in space, whether it was a Hatate, a Rogic, or whoever, and he played it to him. And it just relieved that pressure. It kills more time, ultimately, if you keep doing that as well, because you're not just hoofing it back up to the opposition, and it frustrates Rangers. I thought he was doing that kind of stuff all game, and he really led from the front. I think heads could have seriously went down after that first goal. I know mine's did. So I don't know what it could have been like for the players. Thought Callum was the man that really just drove us on and gave us a wee bit of spark just when we thought it was going to be a game without any.
Yeah, he just stole my thunder. Particularly mentioning, the pivotal moment, because if he doesn't do what he does to get Celtic back in that game, it could be different. And he took the bull by the horns, didn't he? And that forward marauding run, meant to be one of the sitting midfielder at the time, but he's just gone. And he's broke lines and he's got in between them, got in the box, and he set up the goal. Cameron Carter-Vickers is so just as close for his performance. Not because of his goal, but his solid performance and his leadership at the back and how solid he was the whole game. I thought, that goes down as his best performance in a Celtic jersey for me personally since he's been at the club. Performances like that will make it hard for us to keep him, but hopefully Celtic can get him on a permanent, because he's been wonderful since he's been at the club. But yeah, just what you want from your main man, your captain, your leader. Probably there was question marks after Scott leading. Has he got the capability? I think he's more than shown that time and again this season that he is, and he's been fantastic.
Very different kind of leader to Scott Brown as well. I think as Stevie, I think,
no
said
one
on Sunday.
No one will be the same as that guy.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like on Sunday, if we were struggling 1-0 down early on, Scott Brown's taking someone out and getting a yellow card and getting the team up that way, whereas Callum McGregor is doing it by driving forward. We've seen Scott Brown do that in the past, and listen, it worked, and Callum McGregor's got a lot to do to get to the levels of what Scott Brown achieved at Celtic, but it's been a hell of a start for him. I mean, when you think of how long this guy could be Celtic captain, you could be talking the next 7-8 seasons, something like that. And he's a hell of a player as well. Dyson Maeda, guys, I can't believe neither of you mentioned him. I mean, what a player, what a workhorse, and what an effort he put in on Sunday. Just absolutely everywhere. Someone commented in our YouTube yesterday saying it's like having 3 players, having Maeda, and it genuinely is. He does the work of 3 players, and Scott, you must just love watching that guy as well.
He's just he epitomises everything you want in your team, doesn't he? As a fan, particularly, that's what. We want these skillful players. Not to say he's not, and you want the excitement, but you want players who are going to give everything for the jersey. And, he was certainly that guy and justified his starting, because we had that discussion last week. Who do you go with? You go with Jota or Abada. Hamish, you were right. We'll give you it. You can smile. Look, there you go. There we go. Right, that you start Maeda, and rightly so. After that performance and how he performed, and just his work rate above everything else. He still showed some quality bits and pieces with the ball, but I think that's what you're going to get with him, and the tracking back and what he was doing to help the team out, particularly that second half. When you're under a little bit more pressure, and what he was doing for the team. So, yeah, it's a fair comment, Hamish. But I think the other two overall just pip him, but. You needed 11 plus out there, and they all did their jobs on the day, and that's why Celtic managed to get the victory.
Should they have had a penalty, Scott, Maeda?
Yeah, the one he's nicked past him.
Yeah, I think that's a penalty kick.
Yeah. It wasn't until the replay, though, that I could actually say that. That's the thing. So, as much as we're crying out for it, penalty, what's the referee seeing as well? I'm not trying to defend the referee in that moment, but if we're not sure when we've seen it first time, is he sure? Until you see the replay. Maybe if there's VAR next year, that changes.
I think that's given.
Listen, we've got VAR is on our agenda, guys. We're coming to VAR at the end of the video. We're also coming on to embarrassing Rangers in a wee second. Before that, though, pretty interesting discussion on 5 Live's Monday Night Club last night. David, I know you've heard this. It was with Chris Sutton, Mika Richards, and the New York Times' Rory Smith, basically waxing lyrical about Ange and Celtic. Smith quoted as saying, Ange Postecoglou isn't going to get the Manchester City job, but there's a lot of people at City that really rate him. That says all you need to know about how well regarded he is among coaching circles. It's a pretty special manager I think we've got here, and someone who's going to keep pushing Celtic forward. But now, guys, an embarrassing day for Rangers to cap off a pretty embarrassing week for them. I listed all the things that went wrong for them yesterday. Scott, we've not spoken to you since their withdrawal from the Ange Postecoglou Trophy, or the Sydney Super Cup, as I believe we're to call it. A bit of a mess all round there. Have you heard anything from the organisers at all? I can't imagine they'd be too happy about it.
No, they're extremely disappointed, Hamish. Obviously, they thought they had an agreement in place, with the two parties to come over here in that November and be a part of the Sydney Super Cup. And Rangers broke rank and have decided that they've not wanted to obviously to come to the tournament itself, and they're really, really upset by it. It's come from nowhere from their perspective. And they've just been dealing with it through their own accord. I haven't heard any of the legalities of it. It's just that it's disappointing on their end that they pulled the plug, so quickly without really discussion either. I think. I mean, that's all I can really say on it at this moment, guys. But at the end of the day, Celtic are still coming, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and hopefully
that's the most important thing, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get another team to join us and take Rangers' place and have an even better party, David.
Well,
I think it'll change. So I was going to say, I think it'll change a lot of Celtic fans' opinions in the tournament as well. And I think that's probably going to be important to Ange. I can't imagine he would have been too comfortable with a lot of the heat the tournament was getting when Rangers were involved. So I think he'll be quietly pleased that they're not going, to be quite honest. And I think he'll be able to enjoy it a bit more.
I'll be honest, I'm quite pleased in another regard that it's disappointing for everyone that was involved in it to start with from the organisers. But again, it was going to take a lot of policing to take care of out with what was going to happen in the 90 minutes. That was always my fear about how do they work it in Sydney? Do they have the right policings? All that sort of stuff, because you're going to have all that in place, the segregation at the game. I never got a chance to speak to the organiser about that fully or thoroughly. They had said that they had things in place and were speaking to both parties on that. So I'm sure there would have been, but regardless of that, Sydney's a small place, guys. So, and if the game's not starting until 7:30 at night, you can imagine what everyone's going to be doing during that day. So now we can all relax, have a partisan atmosphere at these games, and there'll be a mass of green and white everywhere you go. There'll be nothing else but that, apart from the blue in the sky with the big sun.
Excellent. I love it. Any murmurings about the fourth team, Scott? Gold Coast Knights? Get them involved?
Do you know what? I've heard absolutely nothing, guys. I mean, obviously, these organisers have got some big events coming up. They've got Manchester United coming, they've got Liverpool, they've got Leeds, they've got Aston Villa coming out. So look, there's some massive games coming out, and that's, like I said, for Celtic, and that to be a part of it is amazing, because our game's trying to grow again and trying to get to rebuild after what COVID's done to it, and trying to get more people interested back into the game and coming to watch the games, and hopefully then our own league can flourish from that. We hope, anyhow. But it wouldn't surprise me if it isn't another team. Just depends, obviously, because it's in that November period that Celtic probably would play Western Sydney, who Rangers were going to play, and Sydney as the two games. I think that would probably be the worst case scenario for Celtic in that sense. Best could be another European team coming over, hopefully. A glamorous one, which would be really nice. But again, that's up to the organisers, and they've got a bit of time up their sleeve to get that right.
Perfect. VAR, guys, a far more contentious issue even than that. There's going to be a meeting and a vote that will take place on Tuesday the 19th of April. That's a fortnight today. There's a general meeting that day when all 42 SPFL sides will get to vote. The complicated bit, this resolution requires 75%, so 3/4 of Premiership clubs, 3/4 of clubs in the Championship, and bizarrely 3/4 of clubs in the League One and League Two combined. I don't know what difference that makes, but anyway, if the vote goes through, they're targeting implementation for midway through next season. Actually, after that friendly, after the World Cup, when the league returns then. It seems a little bit strange to me to bring it in halfway through the season. I don't really get how you can do that, but it seems like that's what's going to happen, guys.
You can just see a big decision in the first derby of the season, can't you? Getting called off that VAR would have given, and then it would have been, look at the unfairness of that. It's bizarre. I mean, I'm happy to get VAR in. I think it's the way modern football is now, Hamish. I think all the big leagues have got it. European football's got it. Well, certainly the biggest stage anyway, or the latter stages of the Europa League. And I think decisions need to be called right. Whether the referees in this country will be capable of ensuring the decisions are called right anyway remains to be seen. I still think there's a poor standard of officiating in Scottish football, to be honest. But yeah, it does need to be brought in. But I do agree, halfway through a season, can already hear the Rangers fans moaning about it.
I don't get where the SPFL are coming from with that one. Like, how do they think people are going to react to that? Oh, we'll just bring it in halfway through a season. The reality of it is you need to bring it in at a very beginning stage, or go and trial it somewhere else beforehand to see if it works and make sure it's all running smoothly. At a no disrespect, at a lesser level where it's not as much on the line from a financial aspect, but I just don't see how that works halfway through a season. We're just going to bring VAR when all those possibilities of the first half of the season that means points to people, they're not justified. So it's crazy that they're thinking that. And the other question is, where's the money coming from for the game to actually have it? Where are the cameras coming from? How are all these, clubs in the Scottish Premiership going to be able to have the capability of, paying for these or purchasing all the camera angles that you need to have, VAR clearly work? Is it going to be goal line technology as well, along with VAR? Is that the next one? So there's a long way to go for Scottish football to really get to the updated version of where everywhere else is. Like you're talking about Europa League, Champions League, English Premier League. So, where does that money come from? Is that money taken off from, you're saying League Ones, League Twos and Championship clubs get a vote. Is that because there's a financial aspect within that? If there is, then they're not going to vote yes, are they?
Yeah, I doubt there would be if you're not actually got VAR.
so.
I doubt you would. I'm assuming that it's going to come from the Champions League money. I think every team in the top flight gets a cut of or they get a bonus from UEFA if a Scottish team plays in the group stage. Obviously, it looks like the champions, probably us, will be playing. So. And I think it's a considerable amount as well. It's maybe a couple of 100,000 every club gets. So I'm assuming it will come from that. I don't know what you do in future years, because obviously you need to maintain VAR every year and update it. But it's progress, isn't it? I mean, the three of us are moaning about it, but it's progress in general, isn't it, for Scottish football in the Premiership to have this technology, and really brings it up with the rest of the leagues. Finally, guys, St Johnstone on Saturday. Scott, you've already said you don't foresee any lapse in concentration from Celtic. How do you think the game's going to go?
Look, I think it'll be a tight game because where St Johnstone are and the survival. If Celtic get a goal early, then it could be an easy day out. But I can't see that happening. I think they'll be quite up for St Johnstone, and it will be a tight affair, a nervy one. But I think Celtic still will just have too much. Like I said, I think there'll still be a couple of goals for Celtic, and on to the next one.
David?
I think after you win the derby, you see so many times the game after it, you end up slipping up out of nowhere. You've always got this danger, haven't you, where you beat Rangers, you look at your next game, you go, St Johnstone at Celtic Park. Thank goodness. In reality, it'll go one of two ways, Hamish. There'll be a party atmosphere heading into kick-off. They score in the first 15, 20 minutes, I think it'll be an easy ride for them. Then there's the other sort of road could go down if it takes half an hour and St John's are still in the game. A few eyebrows are raised. We've seen that happen a few times this season. So you don't know. You probably just don't want to get too overconfident. I think naturally, I'm a natural pessimist. So, I don't think we'll just run away with it 3-4-5-0, but hopefully it's a controlled performance. I think every game between now and the end of the season will remain nervy, but you've got to back them to win this one, so here's hoping.
As I was saying, guys, St Johnstone, decent enough form. They've certainly picked up, so I foresee a very tough afternoon for Celtic. So 5-0 I'm going for. We'll see how that goes, guys. Thanks very much once again, Scott. We'll catch up with you in probably a couple of weeks. Who knows how many points will be clear at that stage. We might even be in a cup final by then. Enjoy yourself over the next couple of weeks in sunny Australia? No, cold Australia?
It's always sunny in the Gold Coast, mate.
Well, enjoy yourself, David. You too. We'll catch up with you both very soon. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Listen, we've been getting so many subs. I think we got another 300 subscribers yesterday alone. So wherever you are, we had comments from Vietnam, from Zambia, from another African country. Can't remember exactly where it was, but basically people all over watching the channel. We appreciate it. Get subbing if you've not done it yet. Like this video as well. Thanks very much, and we'll speak to you tomorrow.